25 minutes before 11 o'clock. 74 degrees, and it's almost 11 o'clock. And Joe Reichel is here to answer your questions. Maybe you're working on something that's damaged and you need a little bit of advice for your do-it-yourself project, and maybe you need somebody who's got a little bit more expertise than you do. In either case, Joe Reichel can help you out. Good morning, Joe. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing really good.
Good. A rainy day, and you had a flood on the Facebook page.
We've had several floods here recently, and speaking of rain, one was this past Thursday night. Got a phone call from a lady that I know, and she had water rushing in the back side of her house. She has a wood frame house, and the way the ground is sloped, it slopes more towards the house than it should.
Wow.
Her husband, they purchased this house not too long ago. The husband said, this could be an issue when they bought it. And Thursday night, there was a sudden storm came through the southwest side of town, and they had water coming in. I was talking to the husband, and we went out there, we set the equipment up. They got all the water out, folded the carpet back, set the equipment up, and I was out there talking to him Saturday night. And when I went to pick up the equipment, and he told me, and this was kind of neat because he said, I was standing there and there was nothing that I could do. I felt so helpless, he said. He didn't know, there's nothing you can do in a situation. The water's just rushing in. They moved the furniture and stuff back. But, it was that feeling of I can't do anything to stop this. And that's where, storms like today, a day like today where it's a long, drawn-out storm, this is when you really need to, check your house, check the ceilings, and if water is puddling up outside around your home and not, proper drainage is very important. If it's not draining properly, when it rains like this, or rains, a long period of time, or a sudden storm that happens and it rains harder than it, can dissipate or saturate into the ground, you need to be worried, concerned, or do something. So either French drain or dig the ground out so the swell, there's a swell and it goes around the home. Things like that.
Oh, okay. So that would be one way to prevent water damage if you are lower than the neighbor's house or the street.
Well, we've had several, like a backyard, and it kind of slopes downhill, and they've got a swimming pool, and things like that. If a pool, like a perfect example, a swimming pool, day like today, if it overflows because of the continual rain, a lot of times they'll go right, it goes towards the house. So.
Wow. In Shalom Park, over there.
Beautiful area.
Yeah.
Beautiful park.
There's a couple of ponds, but the one I noticed had an overflow ditch.
Right.
And I guess that's so that when it overflows, it'll go where they want it to and not just where it wants to.
Right. And that's,
that sounds like what you're talking about.
Well, yes, it is exactly what we're talking about. And a lot of times these situations or properties and especially commercial properties nowadays, the engineers that get together beforehand. I was talking with Dave Tillman and Associates engineering firm. And, that's one of the things they specialize in, and make sure that you've got the proper drainage. So they're out there working with, what the floodplain is, finding that out. They're doing the surveys to make sure that the swell, the lay of the land, and where water flows and what's best.
So I have a question about when you buy a house, you're supposed to be told everything there is to know about the house.
Are you?
Well, I thought so.
Like what?
Well, like floodplains.
You find out from survey.
From the seller. I mean, I thought everything, this full disclosure or something like that.
Well, if a property's prone to flooding, that's probably something you'd find out. Yeah.
So my question was, it sounds like the man who bought the house you just talked about didn't hear it from anybody. He just knew it because he could see the way the land was laid out.
Well, and they're nowhere near a floodplain. They're in a nicer neighborhood, southwest side of town here, and it's just it's one of those things where a sudden rainstorm causes,
But you would tell. I mean, if you were selling a house, you would say, well, there's one thing you need to know.
Darren Varney, Big D glass etching.
Yeah, you need to know that. But you would need to know if a flood is apt to happen on a rainy day.
Exactly, and that's where with that type of situation, I mean, you can, without having a flood. A survey done or a floodplain, typically you can tell, and that's where too a lot of times even your vegetation, if it's too close to the house, that's holding water, that's keeping, and your typical problem, you get rain like this, vegetation up close to the house, that water can't dry up, and it's going into the house more. It's going to cause wood rot. It is going to cause moisture issues in the house, and possibly even mold. Is
preventing it as simple as just getting out with a shovel and digging a ditch?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
But you need somebody who knows more about it than the average person, some kind of an expert to be able to say, oh, okay, now you're protected. I mean,
well, typically someone that
except on a day like today when you can just find out.
Someone that does excavating of some sort, or even a lot of your yard professionals, someone that does landscaping, they'd be able to look at your yard and tell you what's best. And then, a normal person on a day like today, an average person just like you, Larry, on a day like today, could tell, hey, I've got an issue here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, typically you are going to have water puddle in certain areas. So that's not as big of a concern. But if you've got one of these flash storms that come in and water rushes against your home, then that definitely cause for concern. Because if you had a rain like that and it lasted all morning or all day like what we're having today, or a tropical storm comes through and we get these rain bands.
Now, at the Cascades, they always had water that crept under the walls of WOCA's old studios. Okay. I've always thought, wouldn't there have been some kind of a sealant, like when you're putting a fish tank together, that you could have just squeezed in something that's
there is
like a paste that becomes solid, or
yes, there is different types of waterproofing materials that can be used. That building, I mean, that's a wood frame structure, so you've got a lot of areas that you'd have to seal it. But, yeah.
Yeah, well,
it's even concrete block. People say I'd rather a concrete house versus a wood frame house. It only takes water, I believe. I might not be exact, but it's only a few minutes. It's like 8 minutes before water can permeate, travel completely through a block wall.
Okay.
So if your block walls are not treated, if they're not primed and painted well, water's just able to come right into your home.
Do you know, when we demolished the old restaurant that was here before you guys built up the walls, because it was a restaurant, they had the tile at the bottom of the walls that curved up.
Right.
And
it's called a cove base.
Okay, thank you. And I assumed that was so you could wash the floors with as much water as you wanted to, and it wouldn't do any damage.
Yes.
Am I right? So why don't they put that on the outside? It seems like that would be a good thing to have on the outside.
Outside of a house?
Yeah.
Curved tile?
Yeah. I mean, or something similar. So if water's... I mean, that way at least water would stay out as long as it wasn't 6 inches deep.
Right. Well, typically, I mean, if construction is done properly, it's not going, it's going to be water resistant.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
That's where, if the construction is done properly.
We have to take a break.
Already?
I know, it's fast. We have a weather and then a few other things, right?
Don't forget to call in if you have any questions.
Yeah.
This is a call-in show.
We do this on your show. I'm confused because some shows we don't do it and some shows we do, right? We do a break on your show, right?
Yep, we do a break.
We're doing the syndication thing with damage control, which would be cool.
I like it.
Because what you do is applicable anywhere. All right, so we'll take a little break and be right back with Joe Reichel. If you want to call 622-WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For today, intervals of clouds and sun with a couple of thunderstorms around this afternoon and this evening. The high today, 88 to 92. And partly cloudy later tonight, though, 73 to 77. For tomorrow, intervals of clouds and sun with a couple of afternoon thunderstorms, high 89 to 93. Thursday, sunshine, some clouds, and maybe an afternoon thunderstorm, high 90 to 94. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Let's face it, nowadays it can be hard to find American-made products, and that's something that Cabinet Sales of North Florida is well aware of. That's why they're an authorized dealer of Wellborn Cabinetry, family-owned and American-made since 1961. Cabinet Sales of North Florida is your answer for complete turnkey kitchen remodels and whole-house cabinetry. Their cabinets are finished with solvent-based enamels for a long-lasting finish that's second to none. Available in an incredible selection of door styles and colors to choose from to turn your dream kitchen into a reality. In-house design and drawing services are available. Come by and see our displays for yourself at the Floors of the Villages, 3935 County Road 216 in Oxford, or Exquisite Design Kitchen and Bath in Bellevue, right across the street from the Bellevue Library. So whether you're looking for bookcases, kitchen, bath, or outdoor kitchen, Cabinet Sales of North Florida is your one-stop source of quality cabinets. For a free estimate, call 352-427-2647. That's 352-427-2647. Cabinet Sales of North Florida.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my
too.
seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line and a new spoiler and a new
Yep,
trunk.
we can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Stay informed on everything going on in the Villages with the Village Spectator newspaper. The Village Spectator is exclusively devoted to the Villages with news, commentary, and more. And yes, they have Tom's Picks, a free referral for people who are looking for a company to do work for them. Tom's Picks will refer the company that fits your needs, and all we ask is that you tell them where you heard about them. Call Tom's Picks at 804-1223 and pick up your copy of the Village Spectator today.
Now read Ocala Downtown newspaper online.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what they sell and any appliances that you own. ABC Frederick's Appliance is located in Bellevue, right over the railroad tracks. Call 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. That's 352-629-5181. ABC Frederick's Appliance.
All right, 12 minutes before 11 o'clock. Let's return to Joe Reichel in damage control. And the phone number right now to call Joe is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline, 622-9622. And the damage that we've been focusing on today has been water, probably because it's raining outside. So.
Yeah. You know, you made a comment earlier, and I want to touch on it. You said most of the times when a homeowner buys a home, they should know what needs done or what to take care of. And this past week we had a lady that we had built her home. She's been in the house I think 6 years now, and she her air conditioning backed up.
Wow,
the drain line.
Okay.
And this isn't the first time it's happened. Not sure why it keeps backing up, but you know, it's been fixed. It was a while back it was fixed and it happened again. And so, you know, somebody mentioned to her about she should have a yearly maintenance on the air conditioner. And she makes the comment, this is a friend of mine, she makes the comment, nobody ever told me about that. Nobody ever told me I needed to do that.
Uh-huh.
And so, I don't know if I've ever told her that or not, but even if I had, she wouldn't have remembered it. So
was there a guilt trip there?
No,
I mean, an attempt to have.
I don't think so. But I would tell her, even if she was here, I would tell her, even if I told you, you wouldn't remember it anyway, because we have a good relationship like that. But you know, that kind of inspired me to write a list of the top 10 things homeowners need to know about their homes. You know, and we've talked about several of them on here. You know, how to turn your water off, how to, you know, turn the electric off to the house. You know, where are your smoke alarms, things like that, and just different safety tips, and even going into what we just talked about, as far as maintenance on your air conditioning.
Yeah, right.
Some of the things, one of the tips is, when will I need to do routine maintenance, such as new roof or appliances, things like that. So, even though, when you buy a home as a homeowner, a lot of times you don't think about these things that you need to do, but your home is just like a car. You can't drive it and not put brakes on it eventually.
Yeah, right.
Or an oil change or things like that. So your home is the exact same way. You need, things you need to know and need to do in order to maintain your house.
Absolutely true, yeah. And the worst thing that could happen, well, it may not be the worst thing, but a bad thing that can happen is if the roof starts to deteriorate, like you've pointed out, that the sun can actually cause shingles to deteriorate.
The damage, heat damage,
And you have a phone call. Good morning, you're on the air with Joe Reichel.
Yeah, good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Say, I keep track of whenever I get my septic cleaned out, and I usually go about every 5 years. I remember here a while back, maybe 4 or 5, 6 months, I forget when it was, you had a fellow on the program was talking about septic systems, and his belief was that you should not have them cleaned out because you're doing more damage than good. Is that true?
That was Sean Scott, one of the owners of Mike Scott Plumbing. And we were talking all about septics, and yes, if having regular, your tank pumped out is good. However, if your septic system is working properly, and that's the key. If it is working properly, and all of the all the bacterias that are in there are doing their job, and everything is working. If your septic is working as it's properly supposed to do, if it's properly working, you don't need to clean it out. So that's kind of the gist right there. When if you have a septic system that your drain field's not working properly, or you have a lot of tree roots, or you don't have good drainage, those are reasons to have your septic, you would have to have your septic drained sooner than later. So
yeah. Everything seems to be working fine. Another quick question. When I clean the toilet bowls and stuff out, I use a material that has bleach in it. Is this bad?
That is a great question. I don't really know about bleach. I don't know. But I do know there's a lot of products out there that are designed to help the septic and help, make sure that the right bacteria are in there. I believe Ridex is one of those products that you can buy over the counter. So, that would fight against anything that you are putting in there, could be putting in there.
Yeah, so your advice is if your system is working correctly, that you really don't need to clean it out.
That's what I've been told.
Boy, that's unusual, because you talk with everybody. Oh, you better clean it out. If you got a family of 4, at least 3 years. Of a family of 2, like myself, every 5 years or whatever. Everybody always seems to be pushing the idea that if you don't do it, you're going to have a big problem. But I was surprised to hear that on that program a while back, that the guy said if everything's running like you said, fine, don't forget it, because you're actually doing more damage than good.
Yeah, well, Sean's a professional in the industry, and I know, like, and trust him well. So I don't think he would lead us astray. And as far as taking care of that septic tank, the septic tank, as long like I said, as long as everything's working properly, you wouldn't need to take care of it, or you wouldn't need to have it cleaned.
Do you have any idea how long a drain field, the longevity of it would be, typically speaking?
I do not, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a note right now, and next week on the show we'll talk about that. Because I'll make some phone calls and find out.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for the call.
You bet.
And I think I grasp the understanding of the not pumping theory. I mean, if the bacteria are in there doing their job and you pump it out, then you're filling it up with no bacteria.
Right.
And there's nothing. And that Ridex stuff is supposed to fortify that bacteria or actually add that bacteria. Am I right?
Right. Yeah. I believe so.
But that was a good question about whether when you clean your sinks and toilets with bleach, does it actually kill that good bacteria? That's an interesting question. I wonder what the answer would be. And if so, what do you clean with if you don't use bleach? I don't know. Maybe some kind of peroxide or something. I heard that hospitals use peroxide more than they would use bleach to kill the germs on surfaces.
Hydrogen peroxide is very good as a cleaning agent, and that's one of the things that we use whenever we do.
Oh, really?
Our
cleaning.
Oh, it's more than cleaning.
Sanitizing.
Infection control.
Okay.
I couldn't think of what.
You had a guy in here one time that had like a fogging device that used peroxide.
Right, and that's a hydrogen peroxide mist, a highly concentrated hydrogen peroxide mist that goes into the air and kills everything.
Which sounds like a really good idea. Do you still have?
Yep, we still do that.
Town?
We still have that, and that's one of the things. Even all of your household cleaners, it'll say on there, effective up to 99% on killing whatever.
Right.
If you read the fine print on that, it'll tell you that it's only effective if you spray it on the area and leave it for a certain amount of time.
Oh, really?
So typically we spray it and we wipe it right off, and that's not killing all of those bacterias and germs.
And you have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Joe Reichel.
I just have a comment about hydrogen peroxide. I used to be a clinical manager of a dialysis unit, and we used a product that was called parasitic acid, which is a highly, highly concentrated hydrogen peroxide. And we used it in people's reusable kidneys. It's like a filter that you put on the machine that, filters the people's blood. And in between treatments, we would fill these kidneys with this parasitic acid, and it would kill everything, viruses, bacteria, and everything. So it was safe for the person to use on their next treatment.
Wow.
That's interesting.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Well, I know a lot of times that they tell you they'll say right on hydrogen peroxide it's good for a mouthwash or a gargle.
Oh yeah.
Use it as a
yeah. Well, I used to, but it kind of leaves a funny flavor in my mouth. So. But it's an interesting thing, and just a secondary thought about the properly functioning septic tank. We've had guests in here also that were more of an environmental specialists than plumbing specialists, but they also would say there's, some big problems to the environment when the septic tank isn't working properly. So
I'm sure.
Is there a way to get a plumber or somebody to come out and test to see if the septic tank is working?
I know that if you open up the cover of your septic, if you open up that concrete cover,
right.
If you know where your septic is, you can look in there and see if it's full or how much.
So that tells you it's working if it's
not full.
If it's not full.
Yeah.
Huh.
If it's clear to the top, then you have a problem.
Yeah.
You should be able to see where the lines go into the drain field. You should be able to see at least part of that, because then you'd know that it's not backing up.
Joe, we are at the end of the
already?
half hour. Yeah. What's your phone number?
This is the fastest half hour of my day.
Yeah.
My phone number is 352-817-6574. That's my direct cell line. That's 817-6574. And my email, if you want to reach me via email, is joe@damageflorida.com.
All right. And call us if you need that repeated. We have it. Also, go to WOCA.com. Look at the guest list. You'll see damage control at 10:35, and all the information is right there. Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We will take a little break. We'll be right back.